Welcome to this video. Today we're going to go through some word problems and applications that might show up on your next assessment. Before we start anything, we're going to read the directions very carefully. So it says, create an equation in standard form for each situation below, determine the slope of the line represented by the equation you wrote, and interpret the meaning. So I need to create an equation in standard form, make sure it's in the right form. I need to determine the slope, and I need to interpret the meaning of the slope. So we make sure we do that every time. So for the first one, for the show's choir performance, they are selling tickets for $4.50 per student and $6 per adult. One night of their final performance, they collect $270 in ticket sales. X is the number of students and Y is the number of adults. So I have $4.50. That was my student cost, and X is my students, plus $6 per ticket, and then Y is my adults. And when I add those two things together that night, I sold $270. So there's my equation in standard form. This was the first thing I needed to do. The next thing I need to do is determine the slope. And to determine the slope, probably the easiest thing is to put it in slope-intercept form. In other words, solve for Y. So now I'm going to minus the 4.5 x from both sides. And if you remember, slope-intercept form looks like y equals mx plus b. So when I write this next step, 6y equals, I'm going to write the negative 4.5 first because it has the x, and then plus my 270. And in slope-intercept form, you get the y all by itself. So now I need to divide each piece by 6. And so when I do that, I get y equals, and I used a calculator, and I typed negative 4.5 divided by 6, and it reduced it for me, negative 3 over 4x plus 45. And then that means my slope, the negative 3/4, means that the number of adult tickets sold decreases, because this is negative, by 3 for every 4 student tickets sold. So go ahead and pause the video and try the next problem, and then when you come back, the answer will appear on the screen. Okay, so in this problem, the soccer club is selling student tickets for $4 and adult tickets for $8, and they want to make $200. X is the number of students and Y is the number of adults. So in part 1, 4x plus 8y equals 200. $4 for a student ticket plus $8 for an adult ticket equals the $200 I need to make. So then to find the slope, I solved for y by subtracting 4x from both sides and then dividing every piece by 8. So I get my slope is negative 1/2. And that can be interpreted as the number of adult tickets decreases by 1 for every 2 student tickets that are sold. In the next question, they want you to make a linear regression. The number of students in the school chorus has increased since the school first opened 6 years ago. The table of values represents the change in the number of students in the school chorus, where X represents the year and Y represents the number of students. In part A, it says determine the regression equation based on the given table of values. And there's an E missing right there, sorry. Round the values for slope and y-intercept to the nearest tenth. So you're going to use a calculator, a graphing calculator, or you can use Desmos. And you need to enter this data and make a linear regression, the y equals mx plus b regression. So pause the video for a second and go make that happen. Try to do so without using any direction cheat sheets or anything, because this is a skill you're going to have to know how to do on your test. it should tell you that y equals 12.9x plus 20.9. And I'm going to rewrite that one time as f of x equals 12.9x plus 20.9. In the next equation, or the next part, it says that it wants to find the best prediction for the number of students in year 8. This is my x value. So f of something equals 12.9 times that something plus 20.9. And that something I'm going to plug in is the 8, because x is 8 years. And you can type that in the calculator. And when you do, it should come out to 124.1. But this means people, and we can't have part of a person, so 124 people. Story problems always have story answers, so make sure you label your answers with units. In the next part, it wants the prediction for 6 years. So f of something equals 12.9 times that something plus 20.9. The something this time is 6. Just thinking, if in year 8 it's 124, my answer should probably be a little bit less than that to make it make sense. You should come up with 98.3 from the calculator. And again, you can't have part of a person, so 98 people. Hopefully this video helped you. Happy studying.